Oh, that's all right. You can take
All right.
it.
Good evening, everyone. The screen is frozen, so just checking we're good. Okay. Good evening. Today is March 12th, 2024, and the board meeting was called to order at 4:30, with the board going directly into executive session under the following four ORSs. ORS 192.6602D to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations. ORS 192.6602F to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. ORS 192.6602I to review and evaluate the employment-related performance of the chief executive officer of any public body, a public officer, employee, or staff member who does not request an open hearing. And ORS 192.6602K to consider matters relating to school safety or a plan that responds to safety threats made towards a school. It is now 6:10 p.m. and we are reconvening our meeting with the public session, which is a business session. All board members are present this evening, including our two youth advisors. And we'll go ahead and get started with the land acknowledgement, which I'll kindly hand over to Director Chandragiri.
Thank you, Chair. We are gathered today on the land of the Kalapuya, who are represented by the Confederate tribes of the Grand Ronde and the Confederate tribes of the Siletz Indians. The relationship between the Kalapuya people and this land continues unbroken to this day. And we offer gratitude for the land and for the generations present and past who have stewarded the land since time immemorial. We respectfully acknowledge and honor past, present, and future Native American and Indigenous students and staff of Salem-Keizer Public Schools. We invite you to join us in honoring these ancestral grounds and celebrating the resilience and strength of all Native American and Indigenous people. Thank you.
All right, if you'll join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Superintendent Castañeda, any agenda modifications?
No, we have no modifications tonight.
All right. Well, we'll kick us off on a bright note
Let's do
this evening with our spotlights on success. There is, I think, the meeting will kind of take us through the waves of what this week has been, but I'd love to kick it off at this point with a positive note and hand it off to Superintendent Castañeda to let us know more.
Thank you. So for our spotlight, I'd like to invite Amanda Burke, an instructional mentor, and she's going to present the community and student spotlights.
Hello, my name's Amanda Burke. I'm a district instructional mentor from Student Services, and this is Callie Owing. She's a coordinator from Student Services, and we support our 29 schools with unified programs. And so tonight we are, I messed this up. Good evening, Chair Guzman-Ortiz, Board Directors, Superintendent Castaneda, and student advisors. Tonight we wanted to recognize a special partnership that serves our students and the community. The Black Rock Coffee Bar has generously partnered with our Unified Business Program at Sprague High School to support the hard work of our students in the Unified Oli Lounge. And the Black Rock Coffee Bar is donating all of the beans for free to the lounge. free of charge, and so the students in the program are working really hard and gaining valuable job and life skills thanks to BlackRock's support. So our Unified Oli Lounge is a positive space run by the students in the Unified Business Program. It's an area in the school for students and staff to visit, and it has become a central gathering place for building connections. Students working in the Oli Lounge take online orders and make deliveries to teachers in their classrooms. And they also, students can also visit the lounge before school and during lunch. So the lounge is ran by 4 business classes, each of which are all-inclusive with a 50-50 population of students with and without disabilities. Sprague is a nationally recognized unified champion school, and with this program and BlackRock's support, that's become a huge part of that. And so when our business teacher, Kaylee Keene, asked the owners, Daniel and Jeffrey, if they would partner, Kaylee was hoping for a discount on the coffee beans, and BlackRock responded, informing them that they would like to support it fully, and they are donating the beans completely free of charge, and they are making deliveries every Wednesday. So thank you so much to BlackRock Coffee Bar for your generous gift to our students. They are working very hard in the program to provide quality coffee and a welcoming environment, and the partnership is a special investment in our students and has undoubtedly contributed to the success of our Oli Lounge and fostering important connections within the school community. So BlackRock wasn't able to be here tonight, so we have our students and teacher here. You are here, hi. Thank you so much for coming. We're very thankful for your support.
I'll offer a bit of emceeing support. So we'll let you, Amanda, go through all of them, and then we'll do photos at the very end.
Okay.
So go ahead.
What do you want me to do? Okay. Yeah, you can. Kaylee's the teacher, so I'm going to let her introduce the students.
Perfect.
So Hannah Hirsch is, I was able to recruit her as my full-time IA, so I have her all 4th grade for the business class. And then we have Ariana right here, so stand up. We have Chloe Hubbard, she wants to stand up. We have Nora, she wants to stand up. And then we have Haley back there. These are my students that I recruited to come today.
All right.
Yes.
We're gonna meet over in this corner over here and take some quick photos.
Eleanor is here, right, Kaylee? Eleanor's here.
Okay, here, I'll let you. Perfect. I'll make sure. Thank you. No, don't worry. Nobody cares.
Hopefully I gave everybody a good
I think we're good. We're gonna do a few pictures of you, and then if you're comfortable. Well, so move them outside. We're ready. 3, 1, 2, 3. Grab one more. 1, 2, 3. Let's make sure. Do you get photos?
All right, thank you, and now they're gone. I will go ahead and move on to the superintendent's report. I think superintendent will be able to give us a quick overview of the week and what's, I think many of us have felt in our community from grief and mourning to love and care for each other. So I'll hand it off to you.
Thank you. So it has indeed been a very hard week in Salem-Keizer Public Schools. And, first and foremost, we lost a student, and we lost that student to gun violence. And then beyond that, we also have a number of other students with whom that we grieve, with their families. And the bulk of my comments are going to address the emotional impact of what has happened in our community. I was recently reading and saw a poem with a stanza that says, "Do the people you claim you?" And I think at the heart of this poetic question is the question of whether or not you are part of a family, whether you're part of a community, whether even when times are hard, whether they claim you, and the importance of being seen and claimed. And so tonight I do want to start by saying that while the circumstances of what happened in Bush Pasture Park matter, we claim our Salem-Keizer students. We claim Roberto. We claim Damien. We claim Jose. We claim Nathaniel. We claim them because they are ours. Their grief, we claim the grief of their families, their fear. They are part of us. Whatever else happened, they are part of us. Although what happened didn't technically happen in our schools, it feels like it happened in our schools. It spilled over into South, and the experience there, although our safety systems did what they are supposed to do, that experience was chaotic and it was traumatic. And there are people in this room who went through that. So even though the event itself is in some ways technically over, we're still riding out waves of pain. And some of those waves have to do with an onslaught of hoax attacks, which re-stimulate us every time back into it. So when I say this has been a hard week in Salem-Keizer, this is what I mean. All of this happened while I am superintendent, and so I'll say a little bit about what that means to me. Every situation is unique, but I have had the unfortunate experience of going through a school shooting in my previous role. And at the conclusion of that tragic and terrible event, we had to confront the same question over and over. What did we miss? What could we have done differently? How were we incomplete or wrong? And I will tell you that there are hundreds of answers to those questions when you have to ask them after a death in a school. So now, in this next moment, which is very similar, I do believe that it demands more than reflection of all of us. I believe it demands more than hope and prayers, and I believe that it does demand action. The question we have to urgently confront now as a community is, what kind of action does it demand? The way that we answer this question will set the stage for what we say to ourselves if something else happens. So last night I shared information, first with the South staff and then later at the South community meeting about a few months of work that we are into around weapon detection systems. And we share this information, I share this information with great ambivalence because this is not what we want for our schools. Nonetheless, our schools are part of a community in which things are happening. And all that we know is true in our schools and want to be true about them being places that are joy-filled, that are about learning, that are safe, those can be part of one side of a scale. On another side, we can't allow our belief in those to cloud our ability to see other things, other factors that are environmentally at play. Some of those factors, I believe, are connected to vast and old systems. And yet today's symptoms of those include increased firearms in the community. They are more available in our streets. Youth have more access to them and are using them at higher rates than we've seen. In my heart, these are not things I believe we can ignore. Schools are precious in part because more people walk through the doors of schools every day than any other institution in our community. And we want those doors to be open because the spirit of our schools is open. And with that sacred responsibility in mind, over the last few months, our research into weapon detections has been an exercise in real emotional ambivalence for every person in our team. We started in the winter with a review of all the data that we could get our hands on, and it didn't tell a story of cultural recovery, not yet. That's what's next for Salem, and that's what's next for Keizer and Salem-Keizer, because we will get that right. But for now, it did not tell that story. We read a lot of research, and then we started meeting with vendors to understand what these products look like now. We've done site visits to 2 sites that are implementing them to see them in real life. And in the coming weeks, we're going to talk about this more. If I scrutinize my heart right now, I have to admit that I believe you will hear a recommendation that we move forward with weapon detection. And I do it with a mixture of likely sadness and certainty, which are emotions that feel very strange next to each other. As part of our initial review, we did plan an incremental and thoughtful way to start these conversations with the community. But sometimes events bring conversations to us before we're ready. And I believe that's what happened to our community over the course of the last 7 days. I think that the key question now is how we move together. Can we see the people in fully drawn and rich humanity and without judgment? Can we see the opportunities and the risks in ways that are clear-eyed and not fear-driven? And can we resist the temptation to engage in skirmishes over language, partisan politics, and all of the other things that are going to crop up when we have these conversations? I believe we can make these decisions together. And I believe we can show that there are ways that they can be done well and rigorously and roundly and in full awareness of what we hold precious and in what we fear. I think this is a time for us to come together as a full community, not just a school community, and see that we have youth who are in tremendous pain. They are isolated, and they can be reached. But teachers and support staff and principals, they cannot do this alone. It is an impossible task to ask schools to do this alone. In light of the pain that I know our community is feeling, I will be making no comments about bargaining tonight. In light of the depth of the experience we've had, it is even more clear to me that these are discussions that we as adults can indeed have together, and I'm confident we will. And that tonight and this week is not the right point for extended comment on those topics. And with that, I'll turn it back over to our chairperson.
Thank you, Superintendent. Just appreciated we own these young, poor boys at their core. And it's been really hard. And I think we've all felt it. Thanks for your leadership during this difficult time, and to the district team, to families who have come together and are asking themselves, what can I do? And I think that is a part of our role as community members, to ask ourselves, what can I do? And what does my neighbor need, right? What does a family down the street need? How can I support? And to come together, because it's deeply painful when we lose young people, whether it's in our buildings or in our neighborhoods. We'll transition to our public comment at this point, and we've allotted 30 minutes where we have 8 people who have signed up to comment. Speakers selected at random will allocate the 30 minutes. Each participant has 3 minutes, and we'll use the electronic mechanisms for translation. The countdown timer on the screen will monitor the time and start at 3 minutes, and at 30 seconds it'll turn from green to yellow, and at 1 second it'll turn red and play a short bell. We do just remind folks to please be mindful of your pace for our interpreters who are here in the room, but also providing translation through technological means. And any comment received in writing ahead of the meeting will be shared with the board. We'll go ahead and transition into comment. First is we have Liz Descartes, followed by Kimberly Reed-Zauber. And we should have a hot mic.
Is this on? It sure is. Dear school board and guests, my name is Liz Descartes. I've been a teacher in this district since 1996, and I currently teach at Calapooya 2nd grade. Can we please settle this contract? No one wants us to strike, especially us. So let's talk about the remaining issues. Number 1, class size and caseload caps. This is probably the number 1 issue for the community. It would help meet every goal set by this school board. And it has to start with target numbers. How can we make progress if we don't know what we're working towards? In the video that Deputy Superintendent Cobb put out, she used the number 25 for elementary. That would be a great place to start. We would love that number in our contract. However, I doubt if this information is correct. It said that over half of our classes are under that number. At my school, we only have 3 out of 18 classes under that number, so that's 16%. The video also states that there are only 8% of classes over 30. Again, at my school, we have 3 out of 18 over 30. So that's 16%, double the number stated in the video. But everyone in this room and in the community needs to understand that the district often says ratio instead of class size. Ratio takes the licensed members, including PE, music, behavior specialists, counselors, LRC, and they divide it by the kids. Ratio is very different than class size, and every parent should be enraged that the district is using this number to make teachers look bad during bargaining. Number 2, FTE. So one would have to ask, why is the district trying to change the description of an FTE? So let's look at why it happened in the past. It was done to try and save money by making teachers work more and get paid less. The union filed an unfair labor practice and won. The district paid back $750,000 and paid attorneys to fight this. Now they want to sneak language into our contract, and we ask why. And no one has received the answer why this needs to be done. And number 3, we want a fair wage. We've seen what you've given to our classified staff, and we're not even asking for that much. And we keep lowering the number we're asking for. We are bargaining. Do the same thing. We're doing this for us, and we're doing this to try and get young people to join this profession and stay in this profession. Settle this now. You have no schools without teachers.
Kimberly, after Kimberly, we'll have Cassidy Trout.
All right, good evening, Salem-Keizer School Board, student advisors, community. I'm Kimberly Reed-Zauber. I'm a teacher at Parish Middle School. I'm a union worker. I'm speaking as an individual, and I will speak about bargaining. I do believe this is the right time to talk about bargaining. These are precisely the kinds of needs that we've been talking about in our students. Okay, our superintendent just asked, what did we miss? What we missed was a long time ago when we did not have sufficient numbers or sufficiently trained staff to find issues and take care of them before they land in gun violence. That was a long time ago. We missed that boat. Let's not miss it again. It should say something about our nature as educators and about our demands when the real sticking points in bargaining have not been about pay or benefits. They've been about the things that impact our students the most and about the things that help us retain quality staff in sufficient numbers. Okay, our demands are for our students, not for ourselves. So knowing that central admin spending has been steadily increasing even while student enrollment decreases and some of our funding sources are coming to an end, when we hear things like, we know class size is important, but we will not be doing anything about class sizes this year, this is the full message that we hear. We know that class size is important to safety, to students' sense of belonging, to reading success in 3rd grade, to regular attendance, high school graduation rates, and freshmen being on track to graduate. We know that class size is important to these things, but we will not make the drastic change that we must in order to fulfill our purpose of education. Instead of engaging in best practices for instructing and caring for students, we will continue in our poor spending ways. Board directors, you are here because you care about our students. So I'm calling on you now to become more involved in our contract negotiations. You can come to the bargaining table. You, as board directors, can make sure that our district grows service to students and community instead of growing our bureaucracy. It's time for you to use your position to guide our budget in prioritizing students. Public education exists to serve students, not to serve comfortable positions in comfortable offices while our students struggle in overcrowded, unhealthy, understaffed classrooms. You can stop all of this nonsense.
Cassidy Trout, are you with us? Don't see. We can move on to Marilyn Ellis and then Haiti Hernandez after. It's
Good evening, Superintendent, Board Directors, and student advisors. The superintendent suggested that tonight was not the night to talk about bargaining, and I wholeheartedly disagree. Everything in our contract focuses on students and how to better serve those students. And I'm going to talk about student safety as I talk about bargaining, because it's important to me too. Every time we lose a student through senseless tragedies like this, I relive every single student that I've lost, and there have been far too many. My name is Marilyn Ellis. I currently serve as the SKEA Vice President. I'm here tonight to appeal to your sense of duty and responsibility as district leaders. Please put pressure on the district to settle our contract. We do not want to close schools. Talk about student safety. I have always believed that a student is better off with us than away from us. We can't prevent everything from happening in our community, but if we have students in our care and under our supervision for a significant portion of their day, I believe they are safer. We do not want to close schools and send children home. We want to work and serve our students. I cannot tell you how many times I hear from our teachers, we don't want to strike. We don't. But we can't accept less than what is fair, reasonable, and helpful to our students. You might be thinking the union's the problem, that we're holding up the process, and that would be incorrect. We've been prepared for every bargaining session. The district has not. We've repeatedly asked for additional dates in both bargaining and mediation. The district has conveniently been unavailable for more sessions. We asked specifically for more dates in the weeks leading up to spring break. The district would not agree to add more. When we declared impasse, the day we declared impasse, the superintendent issued a video accusing us of walking away, accusing us of giving up on the process, and that is false. We stayed at the table working with the mediator while the district team took an early exit out the door. Nothing could be further from the truth. We've attempted to work with the mediator. I cannot speak for the district on that issue. The mediator proposed that we use an interest-based approach to work through the FTE issue. We said, yes, that sounds good. The district refused to participate. We've consistently come to the table. The district just needs to meet us halfway, and we're not getting that. We believe that keeping schools open, regulating class size so that we can connect with students will lead to safer and better schools.
Haiti, and then we have Josué Pérez. Primero tú y después Josué.
¿Qué tal? Muy buenas tardes, miembros de la mesa directiva escolar y superintendente Castañeda. Mi nombre es Heidi Hernández y tengo una hija en el distrito escolar. Soy miembro del grupo de liderazgo de padres y madres de la Coalición para la Igualdad de Salem-Keizer.
Equality Coalition Parent Leadership Group.
Can we get the volume on the... Okay, let us know. Disculpa. If you have the interpretation device, channel 2 for English. You want to try it?
This is the English.
Claro. Buenas tardes, miembros de la mesa directiva escolar y superintendente Castañeda. Mi nombre es Heidi Hernández, tengo una hija en el distrito escolar. Soy miembro del grupo de liderazgo de padres y madres de la Coalición para la Igualdad de Salem-Keizer y quiero empezar diciendo que sentimos mucho la pérdida de José. Y pues nosotras como madres, nuestra mayor preocupación es la educación y la seguridad de nuestros niños. Todos en nuestro grupo de liderazgo de la Coalición para la Igualdad de Salem-Keizer somos conscientes de la triste realidad de las finanzas de nuestras escuelas. Pero por favor, protejan a nuestros maestros bilingües y biculturales. Necesitamos que nuestros niños se sientan representados y que pertenecen a sus escuelas. Ustedes tienen la obligación de proveer a todos los estudiantes del distrito el derecho a tener una educación de calidad para que logren graduarse capacitados para ir a la universidad. Vamos a seguir aquí pidiendo el apoyo para defender el derecho legal de todos nuestros niños a una educación de calidad y equitativa. Gracias.
Gracias, Josué. And then we have Jane Tichenal.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Castañeda, members of the Salem-Keizer Board, and student advisors. My name is Josue Perez, and I'm a father of two boys that attend one of our schools in the district. I am a member of the leadership parent group of the Salem-Keizer Coalition for Equality, and I am honored to be in front of you today. Our two main priorities as a parent group is the safety of our kids and the quality of education they get at the schools. We, the parents, want to be an example of leadership to them. As a group, our heart goes out to the kids and their families for the events that took place last week. We want to recognize the efforts of the Superintendent Castañeda and her staff to try and solve that $30 million deficit our district has, and the transparency shown to all the community in the process by giving updates and explaining the decisions and actions that have been taken. We are conscious about the finances of our school district and know there is still a lot to be done to fix this issue. This reality is a consequence of previous tenures not prioritizing the education of our kids, both at the school district level as well as the state level. We also want to thank Superintendent Castañeda and all the members of the Salem-Keizer School Board for their leadership and their integrity when facing these critical times in our school district. The leadership parent group of the Salem-Keizer Coalition for Equality will keep working with the Latin American parents for our kids, and we won't stop raising our voices in support of the legal right of our children to an education of quality. Sincerely, Josue Perez and the leadership parent group of the Salem-Keizer Coalition.
Thank you. All right, we have Jane and then Vanessa Ellison is our last speaker.
I've had the opportunity to experience this district both as an employee and a parent to a now 8th grader son who will be entering high school next year. I began my journey in education with the Teen Parent Program, serving our youngest students at age 6 weeks with the help of an incredible early childhood educational staff. I witnessed our teen parents diligently work to learn how to be a good parent, graduate high school, often working full-time to support their family, all while being a teenager. As a teen mom myself, I empathize with the constant struggle and debilitating challenges this experience brings. Statistics show children of teen and single parents have a higher rate of addiction, incarceration, low academic functioning, and severe long-term mental health challenges. Our teen parents and their children desperately need you to do better for our district. As a preschool teacher for Head Start, I served low-income families for students ages 3 to 5. I was honored to support students learning classroom skills like sitting at a table to practice handwriting, exploring ways of communicating with their peers, and using healthy coping skills to manage their emotions. Unfortunately, our preschool program only has one trained mental health professional to serve hundreds of our young students and families experiencing significant behavior challenges. Our society is in a growing mental health crisis. We need to prioritize the well-being of our youngest learners. We need access to monthly parent support groups in all of our schools. We need access to more bilingual supports. We need access to inclusive parent education. Our vulnerable families desperately need you to do better for our district. As a parent of a now middle schooler, I'm often getting phone calls from other parents and caregivers wondering if I've seen their preteen child who ran away the day before, if I know programs to help middle schoolers who are dealing with addiction to drugs and alcohol, and if I know how to support young people struggling with suicide and self-harm. I've also worked with our oldest students, ages 16 to 21 in our community transition program, serving youth with special needs. Programs like this are essential to our students who will soon be on their own to navigate this often challenging and confusing world without the support of their teachers and other district-provided professionals. It is programs like this that help launch our most vulnerable students into becoming successful, productive, and safe members of society. It is a terrifying and isolating experience as a single mom, watching the pipeline from early childhood education to poverty as our kids become more uneducated, dropping out of high school at staggering rates without any job skills or ability to read and write at a functional level. Our kids deserve to feel confident, safe, and prepared during their time in education, surrounded by loving and equipped teachers. I know you feel the same. Help us make lasting and impactful change.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for letting me speak today. I got out of work early today because it's so important to me that I come. And I'm really glad that you had mentioned the metal detectors. You called it something else. But I'm really happy to hear that because that's why I was here today, was to ask for metal detectors and to have SROs restored. Metal detectors to keep weapons out, and SROs to help with communication between students and schools, and also it might help retain teachers. And to not install metal detectors, at the very least, I feel like is negligent. This is the third time I've came to a meeting asking specifically for metal detectors since last school year, or a way just to prevent the weapons from coming inside, because the security had no way to prevent weapons from coming inside. I also said last time that if a student was to die from a weapon being brought to school, that the blood is on your hands. And a child died last week. It could have been prevented with a metal detector, as it is unknown if he had had the gun on him that morning. He could have had the gun in the school. We don't know still. And it's not the first time that a gun's been brought into the schools. It's been already a couple times, I know, just in the last year or so. And if we had an SRO that patrolled the area or was around to communicate with some of the people that were at the park, maybe something like that could have been prevented before, 10 to 15 of them congregated and then the shooting happened. A small group of people wanted the SROs gone. The last superintendent ended it without public input or the input of the board or the student-led group who wanted to keep the SROs. Instead, she gave $50,000 of taxpayers' money to a firm in New York to get the answer that she wanted. That's how I take it as a parent. So please install the metal detectors and restore SROs. For you to ignore the weapons of violence that is happening is negligent, like I'd said before. Don't allow another child to die. Do your jobs and protect our children. When there was a shooting and there was a lockdown the other day, the only thing that the teachers could protect the children with, I heard, was shovels. You don't bring shovels to a shootout. And I think it's terrible that that's all that they had to protect our children with and themselves. That's just ridiculous. And that should have been something that was planned way before that ever happened. Just to want to buckle down and hide and get a shovel, that's ridiculous. Countless kids would die if someone walked right through the doors with a gun, which we already know I could walk into the school with a gun. Nobody would know. So please protect our children with more than a shovel. I, as a parent, am pleading with you, please. You spoke of where we went wrong to prevent these incidents, as well as what I've already said. From very low grades, there's no discipline in the schools. So these kids are just gonna keep growing up with no discipline, go to middle school, high school, no discipline. Then we know society, there's no discipline now. So it just needs to start somewhere. And I know there's no discipline because I had experienced that with my son. So, thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you to everyone who made time to be here and provide public comment. We'll go ahead and take a 10-minute break and reconvene at 7:05. Thanks for your patience, everyone. We had a couple things surface, but we will go ahead and get back into our meeting. We have, just wanted to note that our director, Hudson, has transitioned to virtual participation. We'll move on now to our action items, which are a few tonight, and we're actually really excited about this first one, which is the ratification of the Association of Salem-Keizer Education Support Professionals and Salem-Keizer School District 24J Collective Bargaining Agreement for 2023 to 2026. We're very, very pleased to be bringing this item forward, and hopefully, and for a vote here in a few. The district and ASCII-SP leadership and members concluded bargaining, and through many conversations, but just that collaborative effort, right? Staying in conversation, really trying to find that middle ground and making sure that several needs are met. So just huge appreciation to everyone involved for this. I want to hand it over to Superintendent Castañeda, who has much more to say, and lots of kudos to give, I'm sure.
I actually have very little to say, but it's going to start by just asking if the ASCII-SP bargaining team can come up to the front of the room. And Edie, I'm going to do something so awkward. Are you ready?
That sounded like a yes.
I'm going to read your words back to you, which I know is a hard thing when you're the speaker, but I love this statement, and so that's why I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to hand it back to you.
Okay.
This new contract tells education support professionals here in Salem-Keizer that our jobs are valued and respected. Wow. This week, with critical investments in wages and benefits and improved safety language, today's contract goes a long way to address the core issues that our members have shared with us during this contract negotiation and more. While there is still work to do, ASCII-SP members should be proud of their unwavering commitment to the work they did to reach this monumental contract.
Thank you.
All right, back to you,
Okay.
team.
I have my team behind me, and we wanted to just express our gratitude, and our collaboration went really, really well. It was good to be able to be done. It's kind of a long, strange trip that I don't want to take again. And so I will leave it with the folks behind me. Are you ready? I don't think anybody can understand what it's like to be part of a bargaining team until you sit on a bargaining team. I think we all ended up sick afterwards, but anyway. Do you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Jeff? If you want to make a statement, go ahead.
You guys mind if I introduce?
Yes.
Introduce everybody. My name's Jeff Jamin. I'm the bargaining chair. This is Christina McFarland. It changed in the middle of bargaining. Rudy Glass, Lennon Espezia, and Sandy Sandoval here. And we've got quite a few more members of the team. It'll take me a minute to remember them all. So let's
Brian Zauber-Reed.
give them some.
Is he here?
He was here.
He was here, okay.
Yeah, Brian Zauber-Reed, Scott Lambert, Lorena Ochoa.
And I think that's it, isn't it?
That's our team.
That's our team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And our user consultants.
Yes.
Shout out to them, and I also want to say a huge shout out to all the members that showed up and helped.
Yes.
I know that they're not here, but they showed up and they made their voice heard, and I'm sure I can tell that it affected you to some extent, and I want to celebrate them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
So for the let's do that.
Yes.
And then to just cover some of the nuts and bolts topics and also give us a little bit more information, we'll hand it over to our Executive Director of Human Resources, John Bate.
Thanks. Just a couple of logistical pieces after the board vote tonight. The district will coordinate with the association to publish the final document. It's still in the tentative agreement form, so that will take a few weeks, but we'll work together to coordinate messages about the changes, both to members and to administrators, so that people know all the details in the new agreement.
And I have to tell you that our vote was historic. We had 1,500 members vote, and that's never happened before. So people are excited. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We did say it would be a roller coaster of emotions this evening. Well, the association members voted and approved the proposed 3-year agreement on March 8th, 2024, and so it's here in front of us now. And before we call for a vote, do we have a motion?
I do, Chair. I do.
Thank you. Director Chandragiri moves to ratify the contract.
I second it.
And we have Director Richardson with a second. Any discussion? Director Chandragiri?
Yeah. I just want to thank President Buchanan and all of you thank you very much. This is my second rodeo, and trust me, I learned quite a lot from you, President. When you asked a very provocative question, it really made me reflect. We all have to be watchdog for our children and for our community. It made me reflect as a board director. We have a fiduciary duty towards children's safety, towards education, and also we also have to understand that we exist in a system which consists of city, county, and everybody else, parents, families, etc. So it was a very reflective question. Your question summarized what truly is our responsibility and a calling. So thank you for being a good teacher by asking that provocative question. But it also showed me that these issues are far beyond, and we really need a sustainable solution. Otherwise, it'll be like small little things will keep coming up. It is just a matter of time that this had to come up. So it really made me dig down and dig deeper into how the school funding happens. What about the state of Massachusetts? What about other states? How they are doing it? So thank you for sending me on a chase to dig through and understand how the school funding in our state. It's a very regressive model compared to Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, etc. So it's a bigger question, but it's an important question. To support our teachers have to be, and the staff have to have amazing work. We trust our children with you, so thank you. And even though my heart is very heavy with everything that went on, it also means we all have to come together and start thinking in terms of future and to have a sustainable system. And I really look forward to learning more from you all and to work. And I plea that our communities come together, get through this difficult moment, and also start talking about sustainability in school funding. Otherwise, it'll be like every 2 years we'll keep, and it gets harder and harder to raise a child, to cost of living, everything. So we ask that our community work together, our community come together, and let's start thinking in terms of moving forward and sustainability. There's a level of urgency in my mind.
Thank you, Director.
So thank you very much, and I will be fully supporting this.
Any other comments before we move to vote? All right. I think we're eager to just vote on this. All right, and I'm going to read out the motion in full. So those in favor of supporting the 2023-2026 Salem-Keizer Education Support Professionals and Salem-Keizer School District 24J Collective Bargaining Agreement as proposed, please raise your hand and say aye. 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 And Director Hudson online as well. So that is a unanimous vote of approval. Thank you. Thanks so much for being with us, for staying through, and for all of the just ongoing work. Really, really appreciate it. We'll move on to our next action item, which is the appointment of the new Salem-Keizer Public Schools Board Director for Zone 1 to fill the vacancy for the remainder of the term, in which Director Avila was. That will end on June 30th of 2025. So the successful candidate will fill the seat until then. Since this time, the board has received and reviewed all application materials and video interviews from 5 candidates. Information on the process is included in the board pack, and you can find information as well online. We have 5 qualified candidates joining us via Zoom this evening. We can't see them, but I understand that they're with us. We have Alex Grimes, Lisa Harnish, Dr. Jesse Helixo, Joaquin Lara Midkiff, and Ross Watson Gruber. Welcome. Okay, we have a few folks on camera. Welcome. Thanks for joining us this evening. And all right, there we are. There's 5 candidates on screen. Thank you so much. I'll actually hand it over to our attorney here to walk us through the process and the ranked choice voting we will be endeavoring in.
Okay, so tonight the board is using the ranked choice voting system. Each of you have ballots and instructions at your places. There are also examples of how to complete the ballot on the dais for your review. For each round, please rank candidates in order of preference, with 1 being the highest ranked vote and 5 being the lowest ranked vote. Votes will be collected in rounds, so 1 and 2. In each round, the candidate with the least number of first choice votes will be eliminated. The rounds continue until a candidate receives more than half of the votes, and that candidate is declared the winner. With a board of 6, 50% plus 1 is a total of 4 votes needed to be declared the winner in any given round of voting. Make sure you do not rank the same candidate more than once or give multiple candidates the same ranking. Like, you can't make them all number 1 in the same round. Are there any questions before we proceed with round 1? Okay, so go ahead and proceed with the vote and send it down my way for the tally.
Like I need some music.
I know.
Don't ask me to sing. That's it. Just put cross.
Thanks for your patience to our online candidates.
And for Director Hudson, I have her ballot. And Director Hudson, do you want to change the ballot you gave me?
No, if it's
Okay.
legit, I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
It's very legit, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so no candidate received 4 votes, number 1 votes. So we will need to do another round.
We had to go through again.
Yes, and so I need to, the candidate that had the least number 1 votes would be Ross Swartzendruber, so please mark him off of the ballot. Okay, in the second round, the candidate that received the least amount of number 1 votes is Jesse Hiligso. So we'll have to do another round as no candidate received more than 4. So please take Jesse off of your ballot. I had her. Yep. Okay, we have a candidate who has 4 number 1 votes, and that is Lisa Harnish.
Thank you. Thanks for supporting the process. to Ms. Jacobson, and congratulations to Lisa Harnish. Thank you also to everyone else who, threw your name in the pool and just expressed your commitment to supporting our young people, our families, and communities. I think that just speaks really, really highly of, you and your care and connection to our people. So definitely we'll be seeing you again. Hope to have, you reach out anytime, and may, you contribute your name whenever there is another opportunity. But with that, I believe we'll then transition onto the swearing in. So we're doing it now. Am I right on that,
Yes.
Rebecca? Okay.
Would you like to do it, or you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Hello, Lisa. Can you please stand?
Hello. Can I
and
stand?
Raise your right hand and repeat.
Lisa's like, what is happening? Sorry. Okay, we'll just have you
I'm
repeat,
just in
Lisa.
a
So if
funny
you want to
little
come
room.
off mute and just make sure that you're able to, and
All right.
Okay,
there you go.
there I am.
So if you repeat after me, I, Lisa Harnish,
I, Lisa Harnish,
do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly affirm that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and the laws of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution and the laws of Oregon,
and the policies of the Salem-Keizer Public School District.
and the policies of the Salem-Keizer School District.
During my term, I will faithfully and impartially discharge
I will faithfully discharge, I think I missed a word.
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the responsibilities of the office
the responsibilities of the office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director Harnish.
Wow.
We are excited to have you join us and eager to have you in person at our next board meeting. You are welcome to stay with us and able to vote on the next few items if you feel inclined, of course, recognizing that you might not have had all of the time to review materials. Welcome abstentions. Just want to make sure that you're comfortable. So welcome. And
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this opportunity.
yes, we know that you have been in connection and supporting our schools and our community in many different ways over, several years. So just pleased to have you join us. Thank you. We'll actually jump right into the election of the first vice chair to fill the vacancy for the remainder of the term, which ends on June 30th of 2024. We'll move into that as, following the resignation of Director Avila and the successful, I just said that. Okay, we'll now go ahead and open the floor for nominations for the first vice chair position. No seconds are required for this portion, and we can take as many nominations as need be. So, second vice chair Carson Cunningham.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to nominate Director Richardson to fill the role of first vice chair.
Thank you. Do we have any other nominations? All right. No seconds necessary for this one, and not seeing any others, I will go ahead and take a vote on that. All those in favor of Director Richardson stepping into the first vice chair role, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 All right, and that is a unanimous approval and support for Vice Chair Richardson. Because you don't have enough things to do. Well, thank you. All right. Well, that actually, there was more talking points on this for me, but that was smooth and easy, and just excited to have you step into the role, Director Richardson. As you know, there's a lot of conversations and a lot of work that we are just slowly moving through, but excited to have your voice at the leadership table. And we'll jump into now the adoption of the dual language high school civics curriculum. We had this at our last board meeting, and I believe Deputy Superintendent Olga Cobb has a couple of things to add before we move into a vote.
Thank you again. This is dual language high school civics that has gone through a process for teachers to review the recommended material, try it with students, do the assessments. Then we had an open session for community members to come and review it. We had great feedback from teachers, community members, and students. And we are coming back to you for your second vote, hopefully with the approval, so we can move forward and purchase these materials to have them ready for students and teachers over the summer and then start using them in fall.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for this action item?
I will move.
We have Director Pressey.
I'll second it.
And Vice Chair Richardson. All right. Any discussion on this item?
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you, Director Superintendent Cobb, for introducing this civics. I said that the first reading itself. I'm very excited that we have civics education finally in our schools, and I want to kind of make sure that everybody is going to get civics education, including in 2 languages. For dual track. So I really appreciate this hope. My hope is next time we come for do civics lessons for middle school and elementary school, because it's really critical for our republic's future and sustainability, and also for our children to learn how to have different perspectives within the school and solve problems and misunderstandings and conflict. So civics is not just for knowing the way government works, but also to kind of figure out how to mutually kind of get along and things like that. It really takes us back to the Horace Mann's, the concept of public education, which is tax-funded public education, which really should lead to good citizenship. By citizenship, that we mean is how to function in society. So I'm really pleased that we are taking this lead. This is the fundamental reason for publicly funded, taxpayer-funded public education. And I really so appreciate this opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments on this?
I just want to uplift and say thank you to all the hard work that the team did and all the teachers that participated and piloted the materials. It's really nice, I think, to have an established curriculum, and I'm also really excited about the energy that the teachers also have around this curriculum.
Thank you for saying that. And can I add, I shared it last time. You were there for the whole 3 hours of this meeting, and I think you were able to see firsthand how incredible and how critical our teachers are to make sure that we have good materials in front of students. And that night, they said no to 2 other processes, and they said yes to this one. The other 2 processes will come back before you once they make a decision. But thank you for being there. Thank you for just being witness of the work that teachers do to make sure that we have the best in front of our students.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great.
I just want to say I totally support this. I'm very, very happy about it. I lost one of my best teachers because of the work of trying to translate the curriculum and prepare it and then teach it. It was just too much. So I am so happy that we are now going to have curriculum. Thank you.
Go ahead. Chair.
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to say, like, as a student at North, I know we have a dual language program, and I think it's just such a beautiful thing, all the work that teachers and you are doing to help further our dual language program, because I know it's just beautiful that our teachers are so passionate about this, because I know it really helps our students, and it also just, like, creates a better sense of community and individuality for us. So thank you.
Can I add a second, take advantage of my second round? You know, as immigrant community, we really appreciate this because, you know, we come in here not completely understanding the way things work, the way government works, way policy works, what's the importance of participation in how to kind of understand information versus disinformation before we participate in government. And a lot of times as immigrant communities, we don't know what we don't know. So we don't know when civil rights are violated, when our rules are, what is the rule, etc. And parents are not in a position to sit and explain. Even I was not feeling comfortable teaching my own children. So it is a huge thing to have a curriculum and a textbook that we can refer to and say, this is what it means, this is what the 13th Amendment means, this is the 14th Amendment, because of which you are a citizen, I'm a citizen. That's the way we can explain it. So I really appreciate having something tangible, because it's so difficult and so complicated when you step into a country and your children have to do not just homework, but to become good citizens and participate. And otherwise, they just hear whatever their friends and social media says. I keep telling Facebook is not a book. We need real books. That's how we can learn and understand and participate. So thank you.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move into a vote. All those in favor of adopting the dual language high school civics curriculum as proposed, please raise your hand and state aye.
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 Do we still have Director Hudson with us?
Yes.
No. All right. So all but Director Hudson support vote of approval for the curriculum. Thank you, and thanks, Assistant Superintendent Cobb, and to the team for working on this and putting it forth. We'll move right into the approval of the City of Salem Tax Abatement Resolution number 2023-24-4. Salem's policy of providing tax exemptions for multiple unit housing. This item was also presented to us at a first reading in February, and we have Chief Operations Officer Bob Silva, who will provide us with a quick summary before proceeding to a vote.
Okay. We received a request from the City of Salem that we brought to you on February 13th for first reading for a multiple unit housing tax incentive program tax abatement for up to 10 years for an applicant, Brandon Fallman. The project consists of 2 mixed-use buildings containing a total of 7 residential rental units and 2 commercial units with 7 on-site parking spaces located on Commercial Street downtown. There is no tax implications for the school district because it is in the riverfront downtown urban renewal area, and the city requests that we pass a resolution supporting their request.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for the approval? Director Chandragiri? Do I have a motion to approve the City of Salem's policy of providing tax exemptions for multiple unit housing as proposed?
Yes, I do.
All right, I have Director Chandragiri as a motion there. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, and Vice Chair Richardson seconds. Discussion on this item.
Yes, I do have something. You know, even though I just want to share, thank you for giving me an opportunity. Even though this may not have direct tax implication for us, I would like to really be careful in giving this kind of tax exemption for following reasons. We are going through huge budget challenges. There are a lot of buildings in Salem which are which do not contribute towards tax, which belong to the state of Oregon. So in a way, it's already an inequitable distribution. For our school funding, besides the general fund, there is a small sliver of tax that we collect from property, which adds to the pool of unrestricted revenue. That's all we have. So especially as we budget gets tighter and tighter, my hope is we really think through before start giving this tax exemption to different buildings, because then at some stage it's going to come and hit us. Even though ballot measure 5 puts a cap on it and ballot measure 50 puts another kind of squeeze on it, it is still not an equitable funding project for our educational revenue. And we are really, even though we are required by Constitution to do that. So I'm hoping that moving forward, we do some proper due diligence and start thinking in terms of what impact it is having, even though a small contribution comes from property taxes, in terms of what it will do to our bottom line, because the cost of education has kept going up and up. So that's the reason I want to just throw in that caution as part of the discussion and hope city also follows this.
Thank you, Director Nahos-Percy.
I just want to make it clear that this property tax does not affect at all the funding that the school district receives. It's for the urban renewal area. And so essentially what is happening is that the city of Salem is approving a property tax exemption for paying funds into the urban renewal area fund, which is money that is then used to support projects in the urban renewal areas, which I think there's, and I mean, please someone correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's like 5 urban renewal areas in the city.
Thank you. No other comments? We can go ahead and move into a motion on this. All those in support of approving the City of Salem's policy of providing tax exemptions for multiple unit housings as proposed, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is, all right, and then all those in, gosh, help me out here. All those opposed to approving the City of Salem, do I have to read it again? No, okay. All those who oppose, please raise your hand and say aye.
We would just like to abstain from the vote.
Okay. And those who abstain from the vote? All right. So we have 5 in support and 1 abstention for this item. The abstention, Director Nahos-Percy. All right. Are we good? Okay. I got the go from from legal. We'll move into our last action item, inclement weather instructional time. And we'll hear now from Director of Strategic Initiatives, Dr. West, regarding this instructional times waiver, which is, I think, the first time I see it, like, such a thing. So I'm excited, something new.
Some new learning, yes, indeed. The state of Oregon and the Department of Education will offer during seasons when we have inclement weather events like we had in January, a waiver of instructional minutes. The department has offered to all school districts in the state through the rule that's referenced here in the board action, the board plate, that school districts may request a waiver of up to 14 hours from the Division 22 instructional minute requirements of 900 minutes in grades K through 8 and 990 minutes in grades K through 11, and then 966 minutes in grade 12. So this 14 hours that we would like to request a waiver for actually doesn't cover the full period of closure. If you recall, in January, we were closed for 3 days. For us, those 3 days come out to about 19.5 hours. I say about because each level has a slightly different schedule during the day, but that's about what it comes out to. But the 14-hour waiver would cover most of that period of time. So that would allow us, when we file our Division 22 report at the conclusion of this school year, to say with truthfulness and fidelity that yes, we have met our instructional minute requirements. We are requesting that the board approve this request, this waiver, we must have board approval before we can submit it to ODE. And I'll turn it back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Just one question. So if it doesn't cover all of the hours, then the other hours that were of instruction that were lost, could you speak to that?
Yeah, great question. We actually build into our calendar every year a little bit of extra time. We do have some years where we get through the entire year without any weather events or changes to the calendar, but that is rare. In most years, we do have an event that closes the school district, or at least closes the school district to students for a day or more. So we do have a little bit of wiggle room in there. This 14 hours allows us greater flexibility as the year progresses. Again, it's rare that we have weather events in March, not unheard of. It's rare that we have weather events in April, but also not unheard of. So this provides us the flexibility to safely cruise into the end of the school year without worrying about meeting our Division 22 requirements for instructional minutes.
Thank you. All right, do we have a motion to approve the district's application for a 14-hour waiver of instruction minutes due to the ice storm as proposed? And I see Second Vice Chair Carson Cunningham as the first.
I move, oh,
Go ahead.
do we need, what? No, I'll just move.
Okay, and then I have a second.
And I second.
Okay. I've now began reading the whole item, so I think I'm watching Rebecca over there. It's like- all right, and then discussion on this.
Yeah, I have a discussion. So this is, even our contract takes into consideration this inclement weather, so many days will be waived, right? When we have contract with the staff. So this is in addition to that?
The contract does dictate how many student contact days that teachers will have or that our classified staff will have. The contract does guide us in how many work days teachers or classified staff would work during a school year. Division 22 requirements and instructional minutes are separate from that, although there is an interplay there that we're mindful of all the time.
So this 14 hours will capture at least part of the time when we will be not having instructional minutes.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
It is very not so in our wheelhouse, but trusting Director Dr. West.
So that extra time, like you said, 19 hours versus 14 hours. So is there a practice to catch up that afterwards, having an extra day or something like that? How does it work in real life?
How it works in real life is what you see playing out here. So again, when there is a substantial weather event in the state, and sometimes it's very localized, the fires that we experienced
We
several
had
years
that.
ago, that's another example of when the state puts a temporary rule in place to allow districts flexibility in their Division 22 requirements when it's clear that the circumstances are simply beyond their control. That said, in some circumstances, a school district may decide to add additional days to the end of the school year. We have built into our calendar every year a flex day on President's Day, for example, so that if a weather event occurs early in winter, we may flex that day to be a student contact day.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I don't see other comments, so I'm just going to jump in. All those in favor of approving the district's application for a 14-hour waiver of instruction minutes due to the ice storm as proposed, please raise your hand and state aye.
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 All right, that is a approval from the 6 board members present. Thank you, and thanks, Dr. West, for navigating through those counting minutes and hours and all that fun stuff. We move right into our consent calendar at this point, and we're great on time, so I'm just excited. Superintendent, is there anything that you'd like to pull for this portion of the agenda?
No, there's not.
Okay. And do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented? Okay. Director Chandraguri is the first, and then I saw Director Hinojos Presi second. Just no discussion on this one. I think we move into a vote. All right, all those in favor of support of approving the consent calendar as provided, please raise your hand and state aye.
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 All right, that is unanimous approval for that. Thank you all. And we move right into board reports. And just a quick reminder, oh no, sorry, we're going into standard reports. It's me, it's nothing. Well, it's on the agenda. You have those available to you and available for you to review. No additional comments on that, all right? And so we'll ease right into our last agenda item, which is board reports. Board directors and student advisors can share work from other committees or activities related to the board and youth programs and school district activities. So every person has about 2 minutes. I think we're great on time, so I'd like to stick to the 2 minutes and give folks the gift of time once we run through everyone. Youth advisors, do you mind going first? You can pass and we can come back to you, but.
So when talking about board reports in school, I just really want to emphasize the passionate community we have at North. And one of our teachers who really demonstrate this is John Stukel. So in our leadership program, a committee has been dedicated to planning our first ever unified track event, which is a track and field event that we're planning on May 11th, which will feature our unified students. And we're also going to have an elementary relay race too with elementary schools involved. So it's an event we're planning to kind of praise and recognize our amazing unified program and also our students who have been planning it. Another thing that's been happening at North is we've been dealing a lot with IB, trying to recruit more kids. And I think our IB coordinator, Amy Green, has been doing an amazing job at that and has really been putting all her passion into making sure students are educated about IB. And I think our teachers at North are doing a really beautiful job with our community and our students. So I'm really grateful for that, and I'm happy to share that.
Thank you, Linda. And Patrick, do you want to go or do you want us to go? And whenever you're ready. You're ready? Okay.
I guess one thing to report is that this week South has its annual Multicultural Week. And given the previous incident, I feel like this event, it has allowed students to look a little bit back into, the culture they come from and learn to appreciate it. And I'm just so thankful for these students, these student leaders, for being able to put in their time and effort into contributing to this wonderful event. And yeah.
Thank you. All right, Director Chandra.
Yeah, I just want to, say two things that I found very interesting and I really appreciate CTEC, Behavioral Health and Human Services track. I got to spend some time with the faculty and a bunch of students, and amazing group, very hopeful for our future. We have some bright people, so I can retire now. So they're getting ready to be in mental health and other fields. So thank you, Superintendent. Thank you, Principal of CTEC and the faculty of that program. They're all exciting, and they wanted to understand about the career choices, etc. I also went to the East Salem community meeting, East Salem Community Salem Center on Thursday. It's nice to see some of our leaders from Salem-Keizer sit and talk about how can we all work together. And so I really want to say thank you to Mayor Hoy and the Salem Police Chief and all others who kind of helped organize that event. There was a very nice, hopeful presenter, and some very good discussion took place. So it's available, I believe, in the YouTube or Community Capital TV. So it'll be nice if everybody kind of watches that and just saying how we can all work together to help our community regain its safety and help our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to provide?
Yeah. Well, so on February 27th, the Salem-Keizer Area Transportation Study Policy Committee met. And again, this is the committee that oversees much of the federal funding that goes to transportation-related projects in the area. It's made up of the city of Salem, the city of Keizer, representation from Marion County, Polk County, the Salem Area Mass Transportation District, also known as Chariots, is represented. The Salem-Keizer Public Schools is represented. ODOT is represented, and the city of Turner is represented. Now, since June of last year, we've needed to incorporate the city of Almsville because per the 2020 census, the city of Almsville is considered part of the Salem urban area. So that was 8 months ago. And when we started going through the process of adding in Almsville, some policy committee members noticed that the founding documents of this committee have not been meaningfully updated or reviewed since 2003, when the Salem-Keizer Public Schools and the city of Turner were added onto this. This committee was founded in 1987 with the makeup of Marion County, Polk County, the Transportation District, City of Salem, and City of Keizer. And then in 2003, it was just the City of Turner and the Salem-Keizer Public School District was added in. So when we noticed that in the bylaws, it says that every 5 years, this agreement will be updated and reviewed. And again, as I said, it hasn't been meaningfully updated or reviewed. So our ask is to have a facilitated process to be able to review these documents and make any meaningful changes to appropriately represent the vast demographic that we have, especially considering the myriad of changes that have gone on since 2003. Namely, I mean, in 2003, the city of Salem had a population of like 144,000, and now we have a population of 177,000. One of the biggest issues at hand is just how is there supposed to be appropriate representation for our community and their needs in transportation projects for safety, for sidewalks, for stoplights, for bicycle infrastructure, everything that is represented by one person that is trying to bring in the voice of over 177,000 people. And this has been something that has been on the docket for 8 months. Now, don't get me wrong, we haven't been talking about it for 8 months. In November, it kept getting pushed off for scheduling reasons. But right now, it doesn't seem like there's a meaningful way forward. And I just wanted to provide that update. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you want to fight it off? Okay. All right, we'll hand it over to Vice Chair Richardson.
I want to extend the board's sincere condolences to the families of Jose Vasquez Venezuela. Our hearts are with you. We are willing to do whatever we can to support you during these times. Our condolences and support also go out to the families of Damian Escovel Soda and Roberta Munoz Soda. We're praying for a complete healing and recovery for both of those boys. We're also praying for the McCray family at this time as well. I want to thank the city for the forums that they've held so far, but our students need to be in those forums. We need to be able to hear from them. What is hurting you? Because hurting people hurt others. We need to hear from them what they need and provide them the supports they need so that they will not result to violence. We want to love them and let them know that we're there for them. Every one of our students need a trusted adult that they can go to, that they can depend on, that they know will be there for them, so that they will not take matters into their own hands. I want to thank all of you that supported the Black History Month celebration. We had several students that came and shared their talents. Micaiah DeBerry, he's a student at McNary, and CTEC. Will Andre Bell, Sims, and Eve. Will goes to McKay, and Zaria Williams shared her voice as her mother was recognized for being the first African American to serve as the director of Oregon Department of Education. I want to thank our speakers, Pastor Ronnie Brooks and R.J. Hampton, who is the president of the NAACP. And I want to thank our superintendent and our deputy superintendent, Etan Udosanata, for coming and sharing and providing their support. Yes, we just had a short legislative session. I want to give a shout out to our legislatures. They passed $30 million for summer learning opportunities. That can't help but help our students. Last year we received nothing. So we really need to let them know how much we appreciate this. I'm getting there.
No rush.
They also approved a student advisory, an opportunity for us to hear the voices of our students across the state, and I want to make sure that our students have an opportunity to be a part of that as well, so that Salem-Keizer gets to speak up and share in their needs. Teachers, we heard you tonight. We agree you need more and deserve more. We also know that this team has done everything in their power to extend everything we could possibly give you to help you to accept the contract negotiations that they provided. The governor has stood up to what she promised to do. She has an accountability team in place. We meet every other week through October. She's asked us to look at the systems. We don't want to just put Band-Aids on it. That's the reason you can't make a decision right away. We need to be able to look in every aspect of our school systems and figure out what's working and what's not working and come up with solutions that are win-win for everybody. So I pray that our teachers can be patient and wait on the process and know that they too will be rewarded, and our students will have all the opportunities they need to be successful students. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Richardson. Second Vice Chair Carson Cunningham.
Thank you. In the last month, I had the opportunity to meet with several people working in our schools. I had the opportunity to watch a 6th grade language arts teacher in action, and she was working through an amazing project, picking out, each kid got to pick out a character out of one of their favorite books and then create digital marketing materials. So it was just really cool to see that in action, them using Canva to design things, so using reading and that creative side to engage them. You know, anytime I have the chance to look at a 6th grade educator, I'm blown away because that can be a difficult time, and she was navigating brilliantly with, you know, quite a few kiddos in the class, all at varying levels, and her differentiation skills in the classroom were remarkable. I also had the opportunity to meet with our South Salem RN, or one of them, to learn more about the critical work that our entire nursing staff is doing across the district to ensure the well-being of kids. There's a lot of detail that she was able to provide, and I just really appreciate their working so hard, and you know, there's a lot going on right now. On a really happy note, I attended the elementary choir festival this last weekend at the South Salem Rose Auditorium, and I watched 4 of the schools perform. Again, awesome to see our music education programs in action. The kids were wonderful, the educators were wonderful, and it really helped put a big smile on my face. I don't want to end on a sad note, but I just want to conclude by thanking our district leadership, our safety teams, our building level leadership, and every single staff member impacted this week in our schools by the tragic shooting at Bush Park. I really appreciate so much our partnership with law enforcement in the community for their rapid response and their constant coordination with our safety teams at the district. I really appreciate the engagement in the last, it's only been 4 or 5 days with our various faith leaders of different faiths and community leaders and organizations. And I really appreciate the parents and the students at South Salem for showing up last night for an important parent meeting. The turnout was great, and I think we all learned a lot. My heart is broken for all of the children and the families impacted. Lives are destroyed. And we are collectively a community in deep mourning right now. These are community problems, and they are a culmination of systemic issues that we truly need to come together to solve with a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy. And our kids are really counting on us to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Harnish, is there anything you'd like to share?
Yes, there is. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for this honor and opportunity to work alongside you all. I'm very excited to be in the room there with you next month. Second of all, this last week on Thursday, the Marion and Polk Early Learning Hub, along with the Willamette Health Council and Catholic Community Services, we held the Children, Youth, and Families Summit, which was a huge success. And I want to do a big shout out to the superintendent for being on a panel with the Willamette Education superintendent, as well as 2 parents, talking about the community and our various organizations and what we can do to help to promote and support a sense of belonging. Also, Chris Moore helped to facilitate a session or a panel presentation with members of our very own behavioral health program out at CTEC. A big shout out to Kyla and Jacob specifically, who were just phenomenal as part of the panel. And honestly, it's the panels that I think really carried the day for our summit as a whole. In addition, we had the principal, Rhonda Rhodes, attend the summit all day, many other staff, and then 4 other students who were there participating fully with all of the sessions and the workshops, and it was just an honor to have Salem-Keizer represented in that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing all of that. And, I think from my end, I will kind of just let others' voices continue to resonate. I did just get a quick memo that McKay Scott's a cappella won first place at a competition in LA, so kudos. Because they were here last year, and that talent is just like, it's amazing. It is incredible. You just feel it, and excited to celebrate them and hopefully get to see them at some point in the near future once more. I think just for closing, just want to extend my sincere gratitude to all of the team members of the district team who I know worked tirelessly and endlessly through the last 4 or 5 days to support teachers, educators, families, youth, and many others who have been impacted by the events of last week. I know you do it with care, with compassion, But it's hard work, and I just want to extend that appreciation to you. I think sometimes we get caught up in, what's happening, and I know that there was many other folks at each school also taking care of people. So education is about many things, and one of those is definitely extending love and care. So thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and adjourn. It is 8:22. Look at us.